So whenever we have an equation in this format where the y is alone on the left side of the equation, and then you have a number with an x plus a b, that is slope-intercept form. And that means that the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. So y-intercept is the place in which that equation will hit the y-axis when you graph it, okay? And if it's a whole number, it's really easy to graph because you just start graphing, and we're going to do some graphing before we finish this chapter. So if I give you an equation, y equals 7/3 x minus 4/8, what is the slope? So the slope here would be 7/3. And if they asked you, the y-intercept would be negative 4/8, which would be the same as negative 1/4. I mean 1/2. Negative 1/2. Okay? So, but if I had this, 2y equals 8x minus 4, what would be the slope? In order to find the slope, the y has to be totally alone. There can't be a negative on him. There can't be a number on him. They can't be anything. So you're going to divide everything here by 2, and everybody gets divided. So y equals 4x minus 2, and your slope is 4. Very good. If two lines are parallel, what do we know about their slope? And we know that the slopes are equal. If you are at a ski slope and you have two slopes that have the same slope, unless there's trees or other obstacles involved, the skiing experience should be the same for either one, okay? Because it's the same inclination, and that means it has the same slope. So if I give you an equation and I say find the slope of an equation that's parallel to this slope, you're just going to lift the slope off of that equation, okay? So if I have find the slope of a line parallel to 2x minus 7. So the slope would be 2 because if they're parallel, they have the same slope. Now for the hard part, lines that are perpendicular. Remember that sign for perpendicular? The upside down T? The slopes of perpendicular lines are not equal because this slope goes up to the right, up this way, and this other slope goes up to the left this way. So we know that this guy's a positive slope and this guy's a negative slope, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's going to be a bad experience for the little monkey, right? So I want you to remember this saying. The slopes are opposite reciprocals of each other. So this is reciprocal with an O here. Opposite reciprocal is when you take the slope. So let's say we have this equation.
Do you want us to write
this? The line perpendicular to the above line will have an opposite reciprocal slope. So if the slope of this guy is negative 2/3, we're going to do two things to it to make it opposite reciprocal, and that is an arrow. It's not equal to that, but it turns into that. You're going to flip the guy, so it'll be 3/2, and you're going to change the sign of the guy. So if it was negative, it turns to positive. If it was positive, it turns to negative. So what is the opposite reciprocal of 7? What is the opposite reciprocal of 7? It would be negative 1/7. So if they want the slope of a line perpendicular to a line that has a slope of 7, then it would be negative 1/7. What is the opposite reciprocal of 0? So the 0 would go to undefined, and consequently, undefined would go to 0 if you're finding the opposite reciprocal. And I'm going to teach you one more thing, and then you can start working. We have two types of equations that you could give, and you really need to learn this. So it would be y equals 7 and x equals -2/3. Okay, those are two equations. If it's a y equals a number, what kind of line is it going to be when you graph that? And let me show you why. Let's say I make a table about this. And the equation is y equals 7. Well, if x is 0, what is y? 7. If x is 1, what is y? 7. If x is -1, what is y? 7. Because it's y equals 7. You cannot vary from that. So when you graph that, it would be 0, 7, 1, 7, -1, 7. And I used to, if I got confused and forgot which one this is when I was in school, I used to draw a graph and do that to make sure I got the right one. So anything with y equals a number, what's the slope?
Y.
What's the slope of y equals a number?
Whatever the number is.
What's the slope if it's
0.
like 0? Slope is 0. Now with x equals a number, what kind of line is it going to be?
Vertical.
It's a vertical line. So here at -2/3, it's going to be x equals -2/3. It's going to be right there. And so what's the slope of an x equals a number?
Undefined.
Very good. Okay.